upcoming team. You can see them here on the right-hand side, by the way. But first of all, we're going to take a look at Tetra's favorite team of the entire league. It is RPG, a long-time seasoned veteran team.
Indeed. You can also see it looks like they might have gone back to their old logo with a little rocket ship on it. Very cute. But you can see here, long-time legends. They've gone through pretty much every season unchanged in terms of roster. We have Chicken, the melee assassin, the melee flex player. Wang, that solid, most solid of tank players. Sar, very solid support, substituted in at BlizzCon when some of the players from the other Chinese teams couldn't make it. Infinity, once again, one of the most flexible players, legendary assassin plays, and of course, if we're talking about legendary assassins, another substitute at BlizzCon, we have Loktar, who has probably the most legendary grey main in the entire region.
Yeah, definitely true. I mean, Loktar, he was a sub for SBT, if I'm not mistaken.
No, CE.
Oh, he was CE sub. There we go.
Zuyu couldn't make it.
Exactly. Zuyu wasn't able to make it to the mid-season brawl, so pretty good stuff coming in still. Now, Chicken, we have to talk about this guy, because we were criticizing him last season for his rather limited hero pool, but here we see one of his highlights on the Zeratul, and that is exactly one of those melee assassins that Chicken likes to run, because he is one of those rare breeds of players that specifically like to run melee assassins and pretty much nothing else. He's all about them bruisers.
Yep. He brings in a little bit of Tahaka sometimes. We've seen a fair amount of that. Zeratul, unfortunately, Leoric as well. Zeratul, however, has been out of favor for approximately since that first season, which you can see back when E-Star was still a team. But there have been some slight rumors with the Zeratul rework. Maybe Chicken might be willing to pick it back up again.
Exactly, the infamous Chicken Wang combo is definitely something to keep an eye out for, especially if you've never watched RPG play for HGC China. Wang being the main tank, oftentimes initiating the plays, and Chicken, of course, following up on that bruiser, as you said, Tahaka, Leoric, or the melee assassins like Illidan and Zeratul. But now, it is time to introduce the new boys on the block, the new kids on the block. It is TimeFlow, featuring none other than the European Hero League legend, Timeless X, who's no longer looking for a team.
Yep, he's got his own team, Team TimeFlow. He's being joined by Cat with the, you can see, very grey main heavy. We have 11 who has Sylvanas on his recent heroes picked, which makes me happy. We have Atoy, I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce that. Double Malfurions there. And we have F-Show, who seems to be that sort of melee flexy player, that bruiser second tank style with the Leoric and the Artanis, who also seems to be making, at least in Hero League, a bit more of a resurgence.
Yeah, pretty awesome to see Timeless and his boys show up here. Live on stage, basically. That's so cool about HGC China as well. They're playing on a live venue with a live audience as well, which means we have a LAN offline environment, which makes for the best player experience possible. And Timeless Tetra, we have to talk about this guy a little bit more, because he's an absolute legend. Fans all across the globe, they know him for his, you know, pretty crazy gameplay sometimes. But can you tell us a little bit more about him?
So Timeless X, what I know is what you told me yesterday. Obviously, everyone, the majority of the people in the hero scene might have heard of the Timeless X builds or stuff like that, or the Timeless X plays, where he was, I believe, a student living in Europe for a little bit from China.
Very true.
Living in Europe for a little bit, played some Hero League, always placed high, but had very much his own thoughts about how the game should be played in a lot of scenarios and what heroes should be picked.
Exactly. He's infamous for his Thrall play, going full quest build, for example. He likes to first pick Illidan regardless of what the enemy team has brought to the table. And I'm really excited to see what kind of craziness that we know from the Hero League games he played he's going to bring to the professional scene here, to the professional stage. And this is very important to keep in mind, guys. Talking about crazy stuff, talking about shenanigans and unexpected things you may see. In China, you have the very, very biggest probability of actually seeing those crazy compositions, because oftentimes, as Tetra and I like to repeat, China is China, and they like to do things differently.
China is in fact China. This is a very well set to protect. But as something we should notice, we were mentioning the Thrall players and stuff like that. We should note that in the preview screen there from the Silver League, Timeless was playing tank. Garrosh and Stitches were the two go-to heroes here. But for now, let's move into the draft with TimeFlow immediately banning out Hanzo and RPG with Genji. The standard bans we've been seeing across multiple regions at this point. And TimeFlow also stealing away the other top assassin from Loktar there in the form of that Greymane.
Absolutely true. Greymane has been such a staple, not just in China, obviously, but in all the regions. And he's been a staple in quite some time now. He's one of those heroes that you can fit into almost any team composition. He's a really, really well-rounded character as a whole. You can play him very aggressively as that melee assassin. You can also play him as a poker. And since he combines ability damage and physical damage so well, that's what makes him so good, especially on a map like Infernal Shrines, where you need to have a lot of wave clear in those shrine situations.
Yep. And especially seeing as if we're talking about the other regions, which Korea, Europe, and America have already been running from the last weekend, which we've just come off of with some fantastic games, you will have all mostly seen that a staple of China from last season, Valor, has been very rare in those other regions. A lot more rare than we used to see back when double support was really a high priority. However, these two heroes, not so rare in the form of the Lucio and the Sonya.
Yeah, exactly. Sonya, definitely a familiar sight as well, just like Lucio. And we have to talk about supports in general, because we have kind of shifted away from the infamous double support meta that was so popular in China.
Watched Fnatic versus Leftovers last night.
Exactly. They fell back a little bit into the old habits, didn't they? But the double support meta usually, or originally, it came from China. It was E-Star who made this playstyle so popular with Vala, Tassadar, double support. And they made Xingxi from the old E-Star roster in particular shine like a god on between mere mortals, basically. And other teams liked this style so much, and they feared it so much that they basically took it over and implemented them into the own meta. But now, with you know, the new patches, the 2018 gameplay changes, the double support has become rather rare.
Indeed, it is. But something that we saw very rarely for our HGC, because she was only barely out by the end of HGC.
Yep.
We have the Alexstrasza coming in, along with the Garrosh here for TimeFlow.
All right, and you know what's so cool about Alexstrasza? It's the fact that she had... Being a dragon is pretty awesome. And exactly, that Dragon Queen form provides so much teamfight control. Once you see that cooldown go down, good teams will normally disengage. It's very much comparable to a Tychus Odin. Like, once you see that big thing go down, you want to disengage and then come back later when that duration of the ability has worn off. And I'm really excited to see how RPG is going to play against that Alexstrasza, because she provides so much shrine control with that massive AoE healing and, of course, all the flames and disengage she brings to the table.
Indeed, it's going to be very exciting to see the kind of build she goes for, especially there are several builds. Alexstrasza, very nicely created hero in terms of balance. Also, nice dichotomy they have there, with Garrosh getting stronger as he gets lower on health, and Alexstrasza getting weaker. Nice little trade-up they got there.
Yeah, definitely true. And if you go for that infamous Q build on Alexstrasza, where you basically don't have to pay any health anymore for your heals because you pick up the Life Blossom. Yeah, exactly. As long as you pick up little flowers on Infernal Shrines, you're not going to have to sacrifice any health anymore. And that means almost infinite health and healing for melee frontliners like Thrall, for example.
Exactly.
Garrosh, excuse me.
Taking a leaf out of Lily's book. Hey, look, a flower. But it definitely works. It's a really solid build and seems to be one of the go-to builds in general for Alexstrasza. In terms of bans, Arthas and Stukov being removed, so a little bit of fear from RPG of that double support, seeing as Alexstrasza already picked up as one support, but the Stukov banned out prevents the second one. They do go double support in the form of the Uther here, adding in some burst protection. Lucio can give burst protection in the form of that sound barrier, but of course it has that wind-up of the whole let's break it. So having a little Uther does give it a little more initial burst protection. I'm going to be very curious to see what their ranged is, because currently they are quite zero in terms of range other than Lucio. But as we have seen in China in the past, Lucio is #1 player killer hero.
Oh, absolutely. He has taken over Nova a long time ago, especially Smexy from Fnatic. He used to be able to pull off godlike chasing killing maneuvers. on multiple occasions, actually. And speaking of that Garrosh once again on the side of TimeFlow, we saw in a very brief player introduction that Timeless himself, he loves to run the Garrosh, and he actually used it in the Crucible as well, and in the early stages of the Chinese competitive scene. And I'm really, really curious to see how he's going to make that transition from the infamous Bruiser Flex player and melee assassin player into the main tank, which he probably will play here with the Garrosh.
A hyper-sustainy team coming in here, and there's the Valor! Hyper-carry Valor coming in from RPGs.
Oh my god.
It's old style versus new, double support versus single support, but with the Zarya, that little bit of Chinese flavor coming in here, giving those extra shields, which, as we know, work so well with Garrosh in general, as they stack on top of his percentage damage reduction on his form of his armor, and Malthael with that healing reduction against a double support. This could be the first win on the board for TimeFlow.
This could very well be it, and I like that you mentioned the Zarya here, because China used to be a region that plays her a lot, especially teams like SOA. Start over again. Uncle G, he used to be a godlike Zarya player, to the point where teams actually specifically banned it against them. Now, how scary is TimeFlow's Zarya going to be? That remains to be seen. But already, as you pointed out, Tetra, we see a clash of styles coming in. We see new heroes like Garrosh and Alexstrasza clashing against the old double support style. And not just tacit double support, but full double support. Uther and Lucio.
Indeed, which makes me wonder, what is the chicken? Chicken's probably going to be on Sonya. Sorry, brain absolutely dying there. But we once again seem like we see RPG. We do have that scenario where we've seen them a lot. They've been in every season we've cast so far, but their style seems to be the slowest in terms of evolution. They barely held on from being relegated last season. They actually had to play a tiebreaker in terms of second lowest score against Hotslady, which they were able to win. But once again, Hotslady were beaten 3-0 in the Crucible by TimeFlow.
Yeah, that is definitely true. Hotslady went down, and TimeFlow could be a team that causes a lot of upsets here in the Chinese HGC. It is all brand new. Season 1, here we go. Look at that beautiful stage. We're diving right into the action here on Infernal Shrines, and I'm going to introduce to you one of Tetra's most favorite teams in the league, RPG. Being played here with Chicken on the Sonya, Wang on the Johanna, Sauce playing Lucio, Infinity on the Uther, and Locktower plays Vala.
Whereas on the right-hand side, in the red trucks, newcomers to the league, it is TimeFlow, with Timeless on the Garrosh, Cat playing the Greymane, 11 on the Zarya, Atu playing on the Alexstrasza, and F-Show bringing out the Malthael.
Malthael indeed is going to be very interesting. Keep in mind that Malthael does have a talent called, he does have the level 7 called Touch of Death. That's what I was talking about. And that reduces healing by a large amount. So once you have that Malthael with his Tormented Souls ulti, go in and engage on the enemy's backline, you could really cripple the double healing provided by Uther and Lucio. But on the other hand, we have an infamous counter to that very exact playstyle with the Lucio Sound Barrier.
Exactly, Lucio Sound Barrier, very effective. We were talking about the Zarya shield on top of Garrosh's armor. It adds lots of value, as you see it here, absorbing even with Garrosh already having that 10 armor there. But we have Malthael, who has the opposite issue. That was a big throw there on Lucio, actually. But you can see his health bar at the top of the screen. We're not in control of the camera, by the way, guys. We are currently at home in Europe, and we are casting the game, which is streamed to us from China. So yes, the camera is very much out of our control as we see the dance back. But that was already a very good throw, a sign of things to come with that unrivaled strength, the extra throw range coming in from Garrosh at level 1.
Yeah, something that's also a little bit out of our control here is the current lag that we're experiencing. Rest assured, guys, that I'm going to be taking a look into this after the game is over. I'm trying my best to provide a good experience for you guys as well, but please be a little bit patient. Thank you very much. For now, though, RPG, they play a Johanna, and if you watched HGC Europe and NA up to this point, and even Korea, then you were witnessing Johanna's not really doing that well. I think in Europe alone, she is currently without any single win here. And in the meantime, though, we see a kill getting picked up once again by RPG and TimeFlow. They're struggling a little bit under that early game pressure.
They really are. Chicken picking up the first blood in the game and the first streamed blood of HGC China. And we immediately saw Timeless with a really cool play there. For those who do not know, might not have been watching too much HGC, Garrosh did get a slight little change to his kit. His Q no longer pulls enemies towards him. It is now just a stun, a knock-up. What we saw there was Timeless switching it up a bit, throwing the enemy first and then knocking them up to try and maximize the crowd control ability. Very cool to see. Did not result in a kill due to the expert support work.
Yep, definitely true. Unfortunately, no kill secured here, but we need to keep an eye on TimeFlow, and Timeless in particular. He's a player that, up to this point, isn't really shaking things up too much on that Garrosh, but he's an outstanding mechanical player. He can always shake things up, and RPG is a team that has shown a lot of weaknesses, especially towards the end of last season, where we expected them to actually place like in the top 4, top 3 maybe, because they were one of the few teams to take down the Chinese leaders, the Chinese Titans SPT, but they haven't really been able to live up to the hype. Maybe this time it is all about to change and RPG finding back to their old glory.
Quite possibly, we will have to see. Remember, they've already lost their first match of the tournament to Soa. Now they are trying to win their first match on stream here. Timeless moving in, finds Wang though. Chicken moving in, thrown into the backline, double stun knock-up. The Mouth AL dropping damage. The Dragon Form is dropped as Tui begins moving forward. They drive RPG back off the point.
That they do, and RPG, they need to re-engage here. The overall skeleton count is heavily leaning towards TimeFlow, and they're holding strong.
Chicken moving in, taking advantage of the low CC count, actually. If you do look at the composition of TimeFlow, trying to move in, 29 to 11. RPG trying to force the point here. Good condemn by Johanna. Cat immediately moving into the backline, but gets punished. Locked dancing around the fight, shredding through the heroes here. Show is completely oomed. Down goes Uther, but guess what? It's Uther. Spam those heals, and Wang will survive. And another kill is picked up on the Mouth AL, but Locktar finally goes down, sniped by 11, who's turning it around.
Here we go. The Punisher has been unleashed, and Wang barely makes it out alive. He takes another grenade to the face, but it is not enough to take down the Crusader for now. In terms of level and experience, overall, Wang, what are you? Okay, he has the Iron Skin ready. That is a classic Wang play there, causing us to worry about his life, but he's just such a good player.
The brave moves, but like you said, he's so good. That Condemn set up all of that, but they were too slow. Objective already taken. Timeless playing hyper aggro here, moving straight in, looking for that throw, but unable to get it. The Punisher will be killed off. The fort will survive, but the entire front area and half the fort's health has been taken down.
That it has. By the way, Tetra, please continue casting. I'm trying to fix the slight video lag issue that we have here.
No worries. As Kendrick tries to fix the video lag, I'll actually run you guys through a couple of the builds, as we do see most of the teams both going for individual mercenaries and lane soak. We do see the Grey Mains build here. A little vicious, don't you think? Starting off with Viciousness at level 1, moving in to the Thick Skin and the Quicksilver Bullets. A non-cocktail based build here, going for a potential multi-combat build, either into Wolf or into human form. Rage for human to try and avoid that Sonya, and then big old armor when he dives in to try and pick up the kill. Alexstrasza, on the other hand, going with her nice AoE heal ability, which, like we said, not the Blossom build that would have allowed her to heal without too much extra health being spent. Instead, the Circle of Life, where she has to pick up regen globes, the Surge of Vitality as well, to give her team a little bit of extra movement speed when she drops that heal, and finally followed by Fire Within, which allows her to, which heals Alexstrasza, as she does spam out her Q, her E, her Flame Buffet. No worries, I will keep going for a moment. We do see Valor as well. Multi-shot build, slight resurgence on that as well, but we haven't seen too much Valor play as a compared to the last season. And Lucio with that party mix, not going with the up the frequency or the boombox here. So nice little thing to see here. The team of RPG definitely does like to fight as one large group, as Heroics already hit for TimeFlow, but RPG very close behind. Okay. We can try and restart in between the games, if you like. We're gonna keep going with what we got for now. So the heroics already on the board, and nothing super out of the ordinary here. We do see that big old taunt coming in from Garrosh, the expulsion zone for the Zarya, one of the best area control abilities in the game, and of course the cleansing flame. In my opinion, one of the most fun abilities in the game. Here comes the sound barrier. Big ability here. Cleansing Flame dropping from above. Lockstar gets Divine Shielded though. Immediately trying to turn around the damage. But you can see that shield and the Cleansing Flame on Timeless there. Atui keeping him so healthy. Cat, the only injured member, but that Dragon Form keeps him back up to full health again as they try to make the play. Chicken moving in, gets focused though. Not able to do all the damage. Another huge condemn coming in from Wang though. He gets killed by his own teammate landing on him, but Malthael goes down as well. They are trading with the health bars of TimeFlow. Significantly higher, beautiful razor swipe from Cat, but not enough to land the kill, but it is enough to land them their second Punisher of the game. Malthael is actually going to match him. Not the best siege hero in the game, so it's actually a very good use for him to make sure that they are not falling behind in any sense of the word. Another great Iron Skin bait on the Punisher, but you can see here, a big change since the last season we were in. Those backup towers that you would usually try and pull the Punisher to inside the base, they're gone now. They no longer exist, and as such, the Punisher, a little bit more healthy than it would otherwise be here, moving in, it will get killed off. Show will survive. Chicken very nearly gets punished here. Lucio just completed party mix. They're going to try and move in. RPG trying to punish TimeFlow for going so deep, but TimeFlow, they already have the key. Yeah. 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 Yeah, we're talking about Timeless a lot, but right now, Iron Skin is Wang going to be able to get out. Anti-healing is dropped. A nice boop coming in there from Sar, able to push back everyone and keep his tank nice and healthy. But to me, right now, so far in this game, Atui is absolutely MVP. His healing and his dragon timing has been insane so far.
Yeah. Absolutely insane. TimeFlow continues to impress because this team is here to make a statement. They're here to show that they have what it takes to make a really strong impact, or to leave a really strong impact, with players like Timeless leading the charge, playing a spectacular Garrosh, using, as you said earlier, enemies to kill themselves, basically, tossing them in, dealing a lot of damage, causing that mini stun to happen. It's just so cool to see.
There is no greater disrespect in Heroes of the Storm than killing you with your own support. Dropping Uther onto the head of the enemy was an absolutely superb play.
Definitely true. And I also gotta say that so far, the Zarya pick really seems to shine. 11 here is doing a wonderful job, not just when it comes to protecting his own mates, but also when it comes to shrinking down the capabilities of RPG to really enter those choke points near the shrine zones. Now, it is RPG's time to make a play, though. They have only so much time left before 16 hits for TimeFlow. However, when you have that main tank Johanna, and I think that's one of the greatest weaknesses for her in general, is you only have so many angles you can initiate from. She's not as mobile as an ETC. She's not as mobile as a Murden who could flank. She's very predictable in a way you can play against her.
Very true. To be fair, very similar to Garrosh here. Both of these tanks really just love to move in from the front and try and make the plays that way. Force their way in, if you will. Garrosh especially wants to be in the middle of as many enemies as possible to get that big AoE taunt off.
Definitely true. And so much responsibility rests on the shoulders of Johanna, though. And I mean, Wang is a player that is a little bit inconsistent. We saw him perform really well on a Nubrak last phase, but whenever he was pushed out of his comfort zone, play heroes like ETC, for example, or the Arthas, or the Murden, he didn't really look as convincing, and I'm so far a little bit concerned about how he can make this Johanna work for his team. Also, the builds we see by Johanna is a little bit out of the norm, not going for the Blessed Hammers, for example, at 13, going for the Rage. Also, the Sonya build, it's completely different to what we're used to see from other regions.
I just want to check very quickly and be unprofessional for a second. Are you muted?
I was muted.
Okay, it literally just came back. Okay, cool. Sorry, a little bit unprofessional there. Just wanted to check as I just got a message. So, we do see Sar gonna demount Timeless here, try to slow down the rotation nice and easy as Chicken clears out that top lane very quickly without too much difficulties here.
Exactly.
Punishing move on to Infinity. He has to drop that Divine Shield to keep himself alive.
Tetra, this was so huge. Just because Infinity was mispositioning here, he had to use the Divine Shield on himself, and that is normally bad news as Uther. Oftentimes, you actually want to die first as Uther, so you can use the Holy Spirit to keep everybody safe and sound. But in a situation like that, where your secondary support also needs to use his panic button, namely the Sound Barrier, to keep yourself alive, you just can't fight anymore. Without the two major saving graces here, RPG had to retreat and leave yet another Punisher to the hands of TimeFlow.
Yeah, both support ults on the side of RPG in exchange for just one AoE taunt from the Garrosh.
Oh, hell, I'll take that all day, every day.
That's the trading of abilities we like to see. And TimeFlow, like you said, yet another Punisher as they begin to move in. Both teams on equal talent, slight level lead. Garrosh moves in, trying to finish off Chicken. A hard hero to blow up. The Dragon gets slightly CC'd, but the Punisher still at half health, so this keep is not assisting RPG at the moment. The big Punisher stun, and Chicken is forced back. The Punisher root lands on Johanna. She's holding the line, though.
And take a look at A2E here on that Alex Strasser. So much value thanks to the Draconic Discipline at 16 here, which increases the duration of the Dragon Queen. They just can't really seem to make anything happen. RPG, that is. Now they take so much damage by Malthael, who initiates the fight with Tormented Souls.
Sound Barrier to turn it round. The Cleansing Flame dropping so much damage, though.
So
immediately shredding through that Sound Barrier. Wang, he's trying to force the issue. Even dropped an imposing presence to give them that chasing potential in the first place. But right now, they don't pick up the kill. And Wang is finally removed. The health bars of RPG drop to 0 as Chicken is chased down. Timeless finishes him off, even with the Uther healing. Loktar, the sole surviving member of RPG, left to defend the core by his lonesome.
And ladies and gentlemen, could this be the beginning of the adventures of Timeless and his merry men? They take down RPG's core in game number 1, and the new and upcoming team, TimeFlow, secure their first victories. They take down an established team like RPG in a clean first game on Infernal Shrines. What a way to start the play here in 2018.
Timeless looking for team, not anymore. Timeless looking for win, and he's found the first one here. They pick up another one, they will get the full points. As a reminder, this is a best of 2 format, a 2-game series, where if a team goes 1-1, 1 point to each team. If a team goes 2-0, it is 3 points on the board. If they don't win at all, they get nada, they get nothing.
Very true. And of course, those ties could really make for some interesting constellations in the overall leaderboard, because it is a double round robin system. So in the end, when it comes to determine who goes to the Eastern Clash, who goes to the mid-season brawl later on, we could have some tiebreakers. And we actually did have some of those in the past for HGC China as well. So super exciting to see this double round robin best of two system come in once more. And I'm a big fan of it, because it's really cool to see how China, not just in terms of how they play and how they draft, does their own thing, but also in terms of league and you know, the league system. They're definitely standing out compared to the other major regions.
Yes, they are. But that was already a super exciting game to
so good.
start off with. The Alex draws a value.